lose it. A deep, sub-bass impulse begins. A metallic, clanking sound, like a weight plate being loaded, hits on every other beat. A filtered, robotic voice says, begin the process. None yet. The full beat drops, heavy kick, snappy snare, and a wall of distorted bass. Hey, hey, hey. The clanking sound continues now, synced with the snare. Hey, 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 hey. I am the sculptor, the stone. I am the sculptor, break and remake my own. Higher pitched, simplified slightly. The vocals are front and center, Divamo's rap-like flow. Chip away the weak, the doubt, the fear. Every single rep, the vision's getting clear. Sweat is just the dust, fall into the floor, creating something that was never there before. Force returns, identical course. A new, higher pitched, simper enter, enters in the background, adding tension. Feel the burn, the ache, the grain, ignoring all the signals, ignoring all the pain. This is not destruction, this is just a test, forging power from the pressure in my chest. The energy intensifies at double time, hi-hat is suddenly added. I am the sculptor, the stone. I am the sculptor, break and remake my own. The bassline drops out for the first half, leaving only drums in the 10-cent pad, creating a bidding, a breakdown. The bassline's back in on the line. Heart is pounding, a bombing, driving sound on this sacred grinding ground. Muscle, mind, and nerve aligned. Muscle, mind, and nerve aligned. This body's mine to redesign the most powerful chorus yet layered, harmonized shouts on the sculptor, the stone. I am the sculptor, break and renege my own. Returns to the verse one style, but the vocal delivery is more aggressive, more strained. One more set, the final stage, turning over a brand new page. Blood and effort, the only cause to prove that limits can be lost. He sings the high energy from force. I am the sculptor, the skull. I am the sculptor, break and remake my own. The clanking sound effect becomes more prominent, almost like a hammer striking stone in time with the beat. No looking back, the past is done. The only battle's the one I won. With focus, vision, sharp and true, I'll hammer out a better view. Continues the relentless drive. The scope, the main synth melody changes to a emergent descending pattern. The finish line is in my sight, burning through the darkest night. Every fiber screaming loud, a monument to make me proud. The final, most explosive chorus, all elements are at their peak volume and intensity. I am the sculptor, the stone. I am the sculptor, break and remake my own. Final, cathartic reprise of the chorus. It feels like a victory chant. I am the sculptor, the stone. I am the sculptor, break and remake my own. Everything cuts out abruptly except for the deep sub-bass pulse from the intro and one final echoing clank of metal, a final exhausted breath from the vocalist silence. The sound of a furnace igniting. A hammer strikes an anvil once. A filtered voice grunts. Stoke the fire. A massive pounding beat shouted over, burn away the old in the fall. a new story told. Music simplifies to a chugging rhythm, aggressive vocal, molten will, a steady hand. In this heat I understand the making of a man. A tense, high frequency synth wine enters blow by blow. I feel the change, rearranging, breaking range. This burning pain is not in vain. A stronger self I now ingrain. Energy intensifies with a double time hi-hat. Drops out, leaving drums and the furnace sound. Sock sparks are flying, vision red. Every single doubt is dead. In this crucible I'm led. Layered, harmonized shouts on force. Force. Returns to one style, vocals more strained. One more strike, the final form, riding out the perfect storm. Blood and fire, this is the norm. The anvil sound becomes more prominent. The anvil sound becomes more prominent, synced with the snare, no longer ore, but sharpened steel. A power that is real, the future that I feel. Continues the relentless drive, the main synth melody becomes more urgent to send the embers cool, the shape is cast. A design that's built to last, leaving all the past surpassed. The final, most explosive course. Force. 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 A final breakdown, the beat is minimalist and robotic, raw, shouted spoken word. The metal's set, the heat is through, the weapon forged is you. A final, cathartic victory chant. Force! 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 Music cuts, leaving only the fading sound of hot metal hissing in water. A final, satisfied exhale. The sound of a hydraulic press and an engine turning over. A deep voice states, initiate propulsion. A massive stomping beat shouted, Leon Harvard, 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 Harvard. Breaking gravity. I am the push, the pull, the spark, igniting fire in the dark. The only and the central arc. Full force returns identical to a new with alarm like synth as tension. No external power, just the will inside. Nowhere left to run, nowhere left to hide. Throwing open wide the door to be the one I was before. Energy intensifies, a double time high. my head is slowly added. Weight and gravity. Piston drums and a low drone start cleaning power. Kinetic energy, a living law. I am the source of my own draw. The most powerful chorus yet layered. Harmonized shouts on move on. Returns to one style, vocal delivery. More aggressive, the central gear, the driving wheel. The only thing that's truly real. An endless power I can feel. Maintains the high energy from force. The piston sounds become more prominent. Driving the rhythm, momentum builds a constant state. Sealing my own fate. It's never too late. Continues the relentless drive. The main synth melody changes to a more urgent, ascending pattern velocity. A rising score, always demanding more. Breaking through the final door. Explosive chorus. All elements are at their peak, volume and intensity. A final breakdown. The beat becomes a star. Echoing pulse, the vocals are raw. Shouted spoken word. The force is spent, I was the engine. And the event. Blake and gravity. Everything cuts out abruptly except for the sound of a single piston, cycling down to a stop, and the engine shutting off.
So slow building beat. Guts are a deep guttural chant. Monolith from Boston's monolith against every chance. Full force returns identical to course recline. Identical to course. I stand alone. One by wind and stone. My foundation is my own. Energy intensifies with crushing cymbals and a more aggressive vocal take. They vocal take. They vocal take. The guitar drone cuts out, leaving only the deep rumble and drums are clean and resonant. No fault line, no crack. There is no turning back. to no end. I will not break, I will not rend. I will not rend. I will not rend. Maintains the crushing energy. The stone grinding sound becomes a rhythmic element, an altar built to will, a testament that still upon this sacred hill continues the immense drive. The main drone shifts to a slightly higher, more tense frequency. The peak endures the blast, holding firm and fast. A shadow that I cast, a shadow that I cast. Monumental chant. Oh no, everything fades to the sound of settling stone in one final deep rumble that fades to silence. The full crushing beat drops are a powerful chanted command. Execute the program! Execute the program! Set the body free! Music simplifies slightly, the bass line is dominant. Our atomic process rap, system scan a faulty line. Rewrite the weak design, initiate the bass command with my own hand. Full force returns, identical to Cult 1. Execute the program! Execute the program! A new higher pitch data stream, synth the pairs or enters, looping through the protocol to gain a new control, deleting flaws to make me whole. The primary goal. Engine intensifies a double time, hi-hat is subtly added. Execute the program! The bass line cuts out, leaving only drums and glitching sounds are more melodic. Resistance is a syntax error, a fleeting terror, pushing past the failing server to be the bearer. The most powerful chords get layered, harmonized shouts on program. Execute the program. Returns to the verse one style, vocal delivery is more strained. Override the instinct, halt the fear, the finish line is near. The directive is crystal clear. Maintains a high energy from Bar. Execute the program. The glitching sounds become more prominent, synced with the snare hits. Hardware strains, the frame feels the load. A new unlocked road, a different, better mode. Continues the relentless drive. Execute the program! Execute the program! Execute the program! The main synth melody shifts to a more urgent ascending pattern.
Processing the final phase through the digital haze, a monument of endless days. The final most explosive chorus, all elements are at their peak.
Execute the program.
The breakdown, the beat is me, Marty, is all robotic. Folks are raw, fully spoken word.
The code is solid, the task is done, the victor is won.
A final cathartic reprise of the chorus.
Execute the program. Music softens to a pulsing synth. Paddles are clean and determined. A moment of clarity. Beyond the pain, a silent space of permanent forged grace.
I have finished the race. I've finished the race. The chorus returns, powerful but slightly more vetted and less aggressive.
Execute the program.
Drums return with a steady driving beat. Vogue return to a gritty rap.
No more commands, no more design. The will that sparked it is now mine. A power I define.
A massive final chorus with all layers.
Execute the program. Another musical breakdown, focusing on atmospheres or a low crowd. Though the system is quiet, the fire is low. There is nothing we're left to show. The chorus slams back in one last time with pure, unadulterated power. Execute the program. Remember the code. Execute the program. A final complete breakdown. Only a humming, fading synth and the sound of heavy breathing.
There remains a final whispered vocal line. The program is complete.
Execute the program.
The synth hum fades out. The sound of a single clean power down click. Silence Jimmy.
Execute the powers, Jimmy.
Electrical arc and rising. Oscillating some doors, crackles, conduct,
It simplifies to a pulsating bassline and a static-filled rhythm, or a rapid, aggressive rap. Static charge beneath the skin, the storm I hold within. Let the raw current begin, a power I can't dim. Full force returns, identical to con. A new high frequency synth whine adds tension. Amplify the signal surge on a destructive verge. Feeling every nerve converge as my potential dirge. Energy intensifies, a double time electronic snare roll is added, 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 added. The bassline cuts out, leaving only the crackling drums and electrical hum. Melodic yet strained, resistance is a fading spark in the impending dark. A million watts leave their mark. The most powerful chorus yet layered, harmonized shouts on voltage. Returns to one style, vocal delivery is more frantic overload. The circuit board, a chaotic roaring horde. This is my reward. Awakens the high energy from cause.
all S5 electrify electrical arc. Sounds become rhythmic, synced with the kick. Break a trip, but I reset. A constant burning threat. No regret, no regret, no regret, no regret. Continues the relentless drive. The main synth melody becomes a frantic ascending siren. The grid is mine to command with the lightning in my hand. Across this stricken land, the final most explosive chorus. All elements are at their peak. A breakdown, the beat is a stuttering, glitching pulse are a raw shouted spoken word. The current flows, the light is bright. I am the storm and the night. A final cathartic reprise of the chorus. Music softens to a buzzing synth pad. Folks are clean and intense. A silent hum where power lies behind these determined eyes. A force that never dies. Returns, powerful and authentic. Return with the steady driving beats. Return to a gritty rap. No transformer, no control. The energy takes its toll and makes the spirit whole. Final chorus with all layers. Another musical breakdown, focusing on a fading electrical field. Sound bulls are a low growl. The charge is spent, the air is still. I have conquered every volt. The chorus slams back in one last time with pure raw power. A final complete breakdown, only a fading 60s cycle hum, and the sound of crackling ozone remains. A final whisper, vocal line. The circuit is open. The hum fades out. The sound of a single, loud electrical pop. Jimmy Studio.
A single ringing strike of a hammer on an anvil. The sound echoes and fades. A low voice grunts, strike, strike. Music is a simple weighty groove. I'll hear a rhythmic gravelly roar. Heavy hand in solid ground, where the perfect blow is found. A rhythm in the pounding sound. Full force returns identical to one. A tense ringing guitar, harmonic feedback whines in the background. Heat and force, shaping art, tearing all the weak apart. Strengthening the core and heart, strengthening the core and heart. And lustrous stars are a clean bluesy shout. On this block of solid cast, building something meant to last, forgetting all the distant past. The most powerful chorus yet layered, harmonized, roars on ANVIL. The most powerful chorus yet layered, harmonized, roars on ANVIL. The most powerful chorus yet layered, harmonized, roars on ANVIL. Returns diverse come style, woke delivery is more forceful. One more hit, the final form in the eye of the storm. A creation truly born and maintains the crushing energy. Anvil sound is now on every beat, driving the rhythm sparks like stars. A fleeting light in the darkness of the night, forging will and forging might. Continues the immense drive. The main drone shifts to a slightly more melodic but still heavy pattern. The metal cools, the work is done. A battle fought and won under relentless sun. The most powerful chorus yet layered, harmonized, roars on ANVIL. The most powerful chorus yet layered, harmonized. shattering chorus. A breakdown, the music is minimal, just the anvil being struck. Not play the vocals are a word, the hammer rests, the steel is true. I was the anvil and the blow. A final monumental chant, music softens to a fading guitar feedback. Wine bolts are low, tired groan in the silence echoes ring of the power I can bring, and the song I make it sing. The most powerful chorus yet layered, harmonized, roars on in ANVIL. The most powerful chorus yet layered, harmonized, roars on in ANVIL. The heavy groove it turns are a determined roar. No more fire, no more heat, just the rhythm and the beat of my own 2 feet. A massive final chorus with all layers on another musical breakdown, focusing on the ringing of the anvils are a whisper. The forge is dark, the air is cold, a story has been told. The chordo slams back in one last time with pure weighty power. A final slams back in one last time with pure weighty power. A final complete breakdown, only the sound of a single final hammer strike, ringing out and slowly fade into nothing. A final exhausted vocal line. The metal is set. The last echo fades. Jim.
The sound of a dial-up modem connecting and a hologram flickering to life. A digitally pitch-shifted voice whispers, consciousness uploaded. If a cool, precise energy will a powerful filtered shout. Ghost in the machine. This pain, I know it's real. Music simplifies to the bass sequence, and skittering hi-hats are a calm process monotone. Pushing past the hardware limits, reading all the digital mimics in this code. My spirit fits, full force returns, identical to course. A new melodic synth melody plays over the beat. Flesh and wire, a hybrid race in this cold and empty space, finding a defiant grace. Energy intensifies. The vocals become less filtered, more human and aggressive. The bass sequence only, the kick drum and ambient pads of timbre, souls demand. With a human hand across this digital land. The most powerful chorus yet layered, harmonized shouts with less processing, returns to mesmerized
HIVE. The main synth melody becomes a triumphant major key arpeggio.
The body is a vessel plane to house the will and strain
and transcend the pain. The final, most explosive chorus. The vocals are now completely raw and human.
The beat is a simple, echoing clap for a raw, confident spoken word.
The machine is quiet, the ghost remains. I have broken all the chains. Cathartic reprise of the chorus, now fully human. Music softens to a warm ambient pad. Vocals are clean and effective in the silence of the core. I find I am something more than I was before.
The sequence-based results are determined. Clear rap, no program, no design. This victory is mine.
A human divine. A massive final chorus with all layers. Another musical breakdown focusing on the warming pad.
A low, satisfied hum, the system sleeps.
The self is free, I am the ghost and the key.
Massive chains, dragging and stone grinding. A deep, booming voice echoes. Awaken.
Awaken!
The colossal beat drops, purpling rhythm and 10 strings. Are a rhythmic resonant chant, a giant made of flesh and stone on a forgotten throne. I walk this path alone. Full force returns, identical to Warsaw. A high, delicate violin melody contrast the heavy low end. Mountains bow and rivers part with a single beating heart. A universal life.
Energy intensifies, the cry becomes more prominent.
The Martian cuts out, leaving only the massive footsteps and a deep drum. My shadow is a passing day that blots the sun's last ray, and where I stand, I stay.
The most powerful chorus, layered, harmonized, operatic vocals. They throw their spears, a futile sting.
I bear the marks of a king, to whom the planets sing. Maintains the monumental energy.
Energy intensive, the quiet becomes more grand breakdown.
The music is minimal, just the deep drone and a single echoing footstep.
The chords next clearly, just the deep drone and a single.
The vocals are raw spoken rhymes. I was the Colossus of the plain.
A final monumental chant.
Music softens to a fading
Provider.
rivered choir, a low earth-shaking hum. In the stillness I am found on this hallowed ground, where my purpose is unbound. Returns are a determined, resonant chant. No empire, no vast design. This victory is mine, a truth that is divine.
A massive final chorus with the wings on.
Another musical breakdown, focusing on the fading choir. A whisper that
Echoes the ages done, the stone is cold, a legend has been told.
the massive final chorus with pure weighty power.
Final complete breakdown, only the sound of a single final footstep.
And the settling of dust and stone.
A final rumbling vocal line, the giants leave.
The giant sleeps. The last echo fades. A deep final breath.
Jimmy Studio.
Jimmy Studio.
A blaring alarm siren and an automated voice shouting critical sense failure. And it's in final protocol. No mercy to be found. Music is a wall of chaotic noise with a driving rhythm, a rapid panic scream.
Red lights flashing, structures fail, pushing through this living hell. A single last exhale.
Full force returns, even more frantic than Kudus, and it is then stiff. No retreat with a failing, pounding beat. Admitting no defeat. Entry intensifies to a fever pitch. The siren is constant. The bass line cuts out, leaving only the frantic drums. And siren bolts are a melodic, desperate cry. This is the end of all I know. A catastrophic final show, and where I have to go.
The most powerful, chaotic chorus, yet layered screaming shout. Returns to one style, vocal delivery is shredded and hoarse. Override the destruct sequence with a raw and violent frequency.
My ultimate consequence. The frantic, panicked energy. The alarm siren becomes the main melody, pushing past the emergency to a state of clarity. In this calamity,
continues the breakneck drive. cuts to a low, rumbling explosion. The vocals are a raw, gasping spoken word. The core is breached, the fire's bright. I am the final fucking light. Final, cathartic, and broken reprise of the chorus. Music softens to the sound of crackling fire, and falling debris are a stunned, quiet realization. In the ashes, silence rings of the power that it brings to end all mortal things. Return slower and more distorted, like a dying transmission. A slow dying drum machine beat emerge of sorrow, whisper no future, no past tense, just a single solid fence between the consequence. A massive final distorted, collapsing in on itself. Another musical breakdown, only the sound of quiet radioactive static falls from a low final breath. The protocol is done. The world is new, I saw it through. Tries to start one last time, but cuts out abruptly after the first word final. A final, complete silence, then the sound of a single small piece of metal falling in the distance. A final, barely audible vocal line. The silence is the prize. Static fades to absolute. Jimmy Studio.
The sound of a massive industrial furnace door creaking open, followed by a roaring blast of fire. A filtered, heat-distorted voice yells, "Ignite!" The beat erupts with explosive force. Our powerful collective shout. Harness is burning bright. Furnace feeding on the night. Fire, stoke the rage, turn the final page in this elemental cage. Full force returns, identical to corns. A high-pitched tea kettle like steam whistle adds constant tension. Ash and cinder, smoke and heat, a bitter black defeat for the weak that I unseat. Energy intensifies, a double time electronic percussion loop is added. The bassline cuts out, leaving only pounding drums, and the roar of the furnace aroma-like strained cry. Incinerate the doubt and fear as the end draws near. The vision becomes clear. The most powerful chorus yet layered. Harmonized shouts on furnace, furnace, furnace. Lele, harmonize, furnace. Returns to verse down, style and style. Vocal delivery is more frantic. Molten core, a blazing stream, a waking, screaming dream. A power so extreme maintains the blistering energy from force. The sound of roaring fire becomes a riven element, pulsing with the kick drum. No more cold, no more gray, only light of day to burn the old away. Continues the consuming drive. Furnace, furnace.
rising siren of heat. The temperature begins to peak. The future that I seek is not for the faint or me. The final, most explosive chorus. The music feels dangerously overloaded. A breakdown, a distorted, crashing echo. Gulls are a raw, gasping spoken word. The fuel is spent, the flames die down. I am the king of this burning town. Fight, chorus. Fight, 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 fight. Final cathartic reprise of the chorus. Music softens to the crackle of cooling embers, or a low, odd whisper in the warmth that still remains after all the fiery pains, where absolute power reigns. The chorus returns powerful, like to method danger. The driving river turns are a determined harsh rap. No smoke, no mirror, no clever lie. Just a fire in the sky that will never die. A massive final chorus with all layers. Another musical breakdown, focusing on the dying embers. Are a low final declaration. The inferno's out, the steel is true. I walk through, and so can you. A slam's back in one last time with pure scorching power. Scorching power. Scorching power. A final, complete breakdown. Only the sound of a metal furnace door slamming shut with a heavy clang. Its echo lasting for a few seconds. The final exhausted vocal line. The furnace is cold. The last echo fades. Silence.
The sound of 1,000 mechanical insects buzzing to life, coalescing into a rhythmic pattern. A digitally collective voice whispers. Swarm. Single swarm. Hive, a single my dive. Leave the past behind. A million parts, a single goal. Taking back control, making the spirit flow. Full force returns, identical task, not a savage low down. Synchronize the perfect dance, giving up a chance to break the mortal trance. The intensifies, the buzzing sounds become more aggressive and frequent. The main bassline cuts out, leaving only the frantic drums and chaotic buzz. Like they clearly like statement, no single sting, but countless strikes through the endless nights to reach the dazzling heights. The most powerful chorus, yet the vocals are a massive unified sound. And the burst and force, the motor urgent, the signal flows. The network hums as the victory comes from 1,000 beating drums. Mindings the swarming energy from pores. Hive, the clutching buzzes form the primary rhythm. Sync with the snare, a collective building power. Within the final hour, magnificent towering flower. Six and use the relentless drive. Denton, triumphant major key resolution. The purpose served, the work complete. Other than he's so sweet for the humble and the fleet. Settle, most complex and unified. Yo, the final, most complex and unified chorus. Listen, the music is a minimal, it's pulsing drone. The vocal roar, the swarm is still the queen is crowned. I was just one, but now I'm the whole town. A final cathartic reprise of the chorus. Music softens to a calm hum and synth pad for a quiet collective whisper in the silence of the core, where we are something more than we ever were before. The chorus paths full or precise. The skittering rhythm returns of a rapid unified rap. No lone wolf, no solo creed, just a single planted seed that is everything we need. A massive final chorus with all layers, another musical breakdown, focusing on the fading hum, but a low content murmur. The puzzle's gone, the air is clear. We are united without fear. The music music is a MONOLITH.
Pulsing drone ever raw. The swarm is still the queen is crowned. I was just one, but now I'm the whole town. A final cathartic reprise of the chorus. 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 Rise, 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 uprecognize, rise, rise, of the chorus.
Final silent.
The final of the chorus. Final, complete breakdown. Only the sound of a single persistent digital chirp, like a cricket repeating and then fading. A final unified vocal line. The hive is silent. It's silent. The chirp fades out. Absolute silence.
Over a precipitous cliff edge, a single clean guitar note feedbacks. A calm, dangerous voice whispers, "Look down." Music is a sparse, tense groove, or a low, rhythmic whisper. One step more, the void below, a place I've come to know where only courage grows.
Full force returns.
Identical to cause a high, sustained violin note creates unbearable tension. The air is thin, the balance fine, a straight and narrow line that is only mine.
Energy intensifies. The sub-bass becomes more prominent, vibrating.
The bass pokes out, leaving only the kick drum, wind and a 10-string pad, or a clear, fearless melody. No safety net, no guiding hand, just the shifting sand
And the promise of the land, the most power of Corin, replaced by a full-throated roar.
returns to verse to one style. Full delivery is a tense, focused hit. Vertigo, a dizzy spell, a personal, private hell that I know too well.
The sound of crumbling rock and wind becomes so rhythmic because the ground gives way. A falling stone, a fear I must disown to claim the great unknown. Continues the precarious drive.
The main synth melody becomes a hopeful, ascending major chord progression. The other side is now in view, a world that's fresh and new, because I saw it through. The final, most explosive and triumphant. The music is minimal, just the wind and a heartbeat. Full sorrow, raw art, spoken word. The fall is past, the edges crossed. I was afraid, but never lost.
A final cathartic reprise of the chorus. Music softens to the sound of calm wind and a distant eagle cry. As I recall Captain's statement on the solid ground, I stand with the future in my hand and the truth I understand.
The tense groove returns are determined, clear rap
a promise I will keep while the world is asleep.
A massive final chorus with all layers. Another musical breakdown, focusing on the calm wind, falling low. Final whisper, the danger's gone. The view is clear, I faced the edge and left it here. A massive final chorus with all layers.
Another musical breakdown, focusing on the calm wind. Or a low final whisper, the danger's gone. The view is clear, I faced the edge and left it here. A massive final chorus with all layers.